What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Shred Lord.
I'm Jammin' John.
And we have an album review for you. So one we had our eye on for the week of the 26th of March was the newest offering from Memoriam, To the End. This is their fourth full length on Reaper Entertainment. This band formed in 2016 in Birmingham, England, and I think a fair amount of people are familiar with them because they're from some very familiar bands because they feature ex-members of Bolt Thrower, Benediction, and Napalm Death.
Yeah.
There's even some current members of Benediction in here too. Now again, this is their fourth full length, but they had a lineup change this time. Last year, longtime drummer Andrew Whale, and they have replaced him with Spiky T. Smith, who actually played in English Dogs. And, well, I mean, kind of a known thing about this band, this started off as a tribute to Martin Kearns, or Martin Kitty Kearns, the past drummer of Bolt Thrower and
Bolt
yeah,
Thrower.
One of the reasons why they pretty much split, because he was their dude. And this is kind of a start of a new chapter. I was actually watching an interview with Carl Willits, their frontman, and he said the first three were more about death. Essentially, it was like a long period of mourning. And this is more about hope and triumph. And honestly, you kind of get that on this one. It is doom-laden and very Bolt Thrower-esque, but it feels more triumphant Bolt Thrower, like charging into battle. Opening track, Onwards into Battle, is
That's
right away
As
like
it sounds.
you feel like the energy ramped up, these really cool crawling harmonies, instantly catchy, just that big Bolt Thrower groove, and the riffs are just crunchy and heavy. The production on here is, I would say, pretty good.
It depends on what you listen to it on. When I jammed this album first today, I jammed it in headphones. I have really nice in-ear headphones, and the drums weren't as heavy as they were on your speaker.
Yeah, I mean, they're punchy. They're right away. I mean, you hear them, and I have to say, Spiky.
Spiky.
We'll go Spiky.
Isn't that English as hell?
That is kind of...
Oh,
well, I mean, Spiky T.
Spiky T.
He's either English or that's like a SoundCloud rapper we haven't got to yet. But I think he adds a lot to this band. Not that Andrew Whale was a bad drummer. He's, a longtime drummer for a lot of bands, namely Bolt Thrower. But he adds a lot of, I would say, just like a more energetic approach. Like in between like these straightforward grooves, he's peppering in these really cool fills and accents. There's really cool like cymbal accent work on here. But this opening track pretty much sets the pace for the majority of the just kind of epic driving feel to this. And my God, groove laden as hell. You will bang your head.
Now, as good as the first track was, it did not hold a candle, in my opinion, to the next track, which would be This War Is Won.
They won the war.
The war's won, yes, they charged, they won, and now it's time to drink some beer, mead, and celebrate.
War.
And layeth with thine spouse, partner, person.
Consensually. You still won. Come on, it's fine.
Here is where we start getting a little more riffy and the dynamics start to pick up, and they continue to have that pick up and pace throughout the rest of the album. This track just sets the pace for pretty much the next 8 tracks.
Yeah.
There's a nice slowdown, and when the guitars breathe, you really hear, it's almost like a snarl. The fucking guitar snarl.
Do that
sound
bass
great.
snarls.
Yep.
Yeah. And this tremolo riff at the end is really heavy. It's very classic of what you would expect Bolt Thrower to do.
Actually, this track reminded me a lot of Gate Creeper.
Actually, I was just going to bring up, like, they have kind of that new school, old school feel. I mean, Gate Creeper, I would say Mammoth Grinder to some extent, too. It's very just, again, groove laden. It's about just that forward drive. You're, a Sherman tank rolling over corpses.
It's about winning a war.
No, they already won.
They already won.
They won.
The war's won. It's right there. It's right there.
It's the celebration of the winning of war.
By the end of the track, I felt like I defeated something. I don't know what it was, but I defeated it.
And the song was really well written too, which is going to be a theme you're going to find all throughout here. It doesn't just follow this basic standard formulas. You can tell each song is crafted a certain way. It doesn't get too formulaic.
They really do make sure each song stands out. I did like that. Like, there are spots that are similar. Vacant Stare is very similar to The War Is Won.
Yes.
But it's different. This one kind of labors a really cool triplet chug, and dude, this was just the mosher right away. As soon as I heard the beautiful triplet that's on here, which I'm a sucker for that, it's mosh pit worthy right away.
Like, I think Vacant Stare, I think actually is one of the more intense songs on the
It
album.
is.
Yes.
Like, it stands out for that.
And it starts off with these guitar harmonies that you hear a few times. There's another song that starts off that way as well, but it's almost like old Killers era, Iron Maiden to start it off. And then the drummer does a really good job of just playing something super fast-paced and upbeat to really drive the excitement as it builds. And those spots, especially the opening of Vacant Stare, is a highlight of this album for me.
And that is like something that's kind of across the board in terms of their transitions. They know how to ramp up the energy. It just steadily builds until like a fever pitch, and then you're just gonna charge in blindly to a mosh pit and probably get hurt. Or at least I will.
Now, a big important part of this album too, or something that really draws me to this album as well, is how the hooks can be melodic yet never take away from any of the heaviness. It never gets overly melodic at any point until possibly the last track, As My Heart Grows Cold, is when you really see like more of the triumphant melodic stuff really coming through. Not that there wasn't those grooves and melodies before, but it never really overpowered the riff.
Yeah.
It was there
It
to
doesn't
add
take away
texture.
from the groove.
Right.
Yeah.
But at this track, now you're seeing it's letting the melody and the groove kind of take over, and the riffs are now doing a back seat.
What I really liked about that track is it is kind of like almost like a story. It's has a very somber beginning, and the whole middle part of it is very dark and downtrodden.
Yep.
But towards the end, it starts building those big melodies, and it kind of turns into like this big triumphant song. And
Got that big just like stomp groove.
dude,
That's
it
where he lays
becomes
on the cymbal work there.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, with the melodies again is this never comes across as cheesy, even though the melodies are like again, kind of triumphant, but like battle triumphant.
I thought it might get a little cheese into the end because that song, the intro is rather epic. And I thought it might go a little bit cheese, but it doesn't.
No.
It gets all doomy.
It pulls it back and goes slow Slayer.
And that was something that really got me in here were the doom elements. Each step one closer to the grave and the title track are two of the doomiest pieces on here. And I mean, just doom and gloom. I could have sworn Carl Willits just walked in the studio while Paradise Lost was recording their album, just like, no, I got this. Can I have this track?
All I wanted to do was drink black coffee, smoke cigarettes, and read Edgar Allan Poe.
It's just nasty, slow grooves, the big doom harmonies on there. Like, it's songs you can feel. And I like that this kind of came after like some really up-tempo stuff. Failure to Comply before that was, straightforward, mosher, that nice bolt thrower, double time groove, and then pumps the brakes hard and just goes straight for the gloom, and it really works. This has probably my favorite transition on the entire album toward the end, this giant build-up where they're just beating the toms, and it just builds to this incredible crescendo at the end. Like, it's probably my favorite moment on the entire album. Like, dude, I got like legit goosebumps listening to it.
Most of this album had a very tight, cohesive feel. There was one track, second to last, that did not fit the cohesion of the rest of the album, and it was perhaps my least favorite song. Not that it was a bad song, but that would be Mass Psychosis.
Yeah.
This had a more punky, upbeat,
Industrial.
Yep, industrial. I said,
vibe.
right off the bat, I said Nail Bomb or Ministry.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it has the stomp rhythm that's, it almost kind of leads in a bit like Just One Fix. It's very different. Like, the guitars are more distant and kind of scrapey. There's samples playing in the back. There's like a layer of ambient noise. It's industrial. It's like 90s industrial.
It just seems
the drum
really
fill, that really raw sounding drum fill to kick back in before the end.
And like the weird isolation, like they'll bring the drums back like a lot in the mix to make them sound like an industrial drum loop, like just a stomp, and then have, Carl bellowing something with like a static filter on his voice. Like, this sounds like tropes of 90s industrial stuff, which I'm into. I really like it. I like this song, but it doesn't fit. It kind of hurts the flow of the album. Like, it's just sticks out like a sore thumb. But overall, this album was killer. And I've been a fan of Memoriam for a while, just, mostly because, like, it's the guys from Bolt Thrower. I'm probably going to love this. And I have. But I think this is one of their strongest efforts yet. And I don't know, I feel like maybe just the little bit of new blood that's been injected in this band has really just kicked them into high gear, because listening to this doesn't sound like an old band. This doesn't sound like an old band. Like, all right, it's time to make an album.
This sounds like a new, hungry band.
They're young. They're hungry. They put their pants on one leg at a time. The only difference is when those pants are on, they're making metal records.
So overall, I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. I really, really dug this. Even the weird industrial track, it was still good. It didn't really fit, but it was still good. All the tracks in here are really good. Transitions are beautiful. The songwriting is top notch. I mean, they're old pros, but you wouldn't guess that. Like, it sounds young and fresh and hungry, like they really wanted to make a statement, and they have. This album absolutely whoops ass. If you're a longtime Bolt Thrower fan, this is almost like a missing Bolt Thrower album. It absolutely whoops the shit out of pretty much anything that's in its way. So get it.
I'm going to give this record 4 stars. Now, first off, I like this record more than the last one. The songwriting is better, the structure is better, the dynamic works a little bit better, and like we've all said, they sound young and hungry. Hungry, like the wolf.
That's an old wolf by now.
They're on the hunt.
Really
They're after
wolf.
us.
Yeah, that wolf's probably dead.
It's definitely dead.
Not important.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a little bit of lead work. There were times when that melody and that harmony they had a lot of open space in these songs too. And that open space, I think, could have been filled by a little bit of lead work, just something to give it a little bit more spice. Yeah, overall, 4 stars for me.
I definitely understand where my cohorts are coming from. I think I'm going to lean a little bit more towards Nick this time and give it a 4.5 stars as well. I don't have too many gripes about this album other than the song Mass Psychosis just didn't feel to fit. As a guitar player, I definitely could have used some leads in there over that open space, whether it's something melodic and epic or something kind of evil and Tony Iommi-ish, something, but, traditionally the bands that these guys came from, really, that wasn't their forte too much. So I guess I didn't expect that.
Right.
But what they did give me, I thought, was creative, refreshing, and something that I'm going to listen to a lot more, which doesn't always happen, considering how much music we listen to. So.
Yeah, right.
Surprisingly, I mean, it was kind of an odd thing. Like, I generally pick apart where there should be leads, but I didn't really miss them. They were still, like, delivering great riffs and melodies.
Yes.
I don't know. This is just a fun album. Just get it. Buy it. I did.
Yeah, it's a must.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We will catch you later.